Thank you for watching. I watched a debate on the channel Unbelievable. The debate was between Tom Holland, a scholar of ancient things, and A.C. Grayling, who apparently is an atheist. The debate was about, did Christianity give us our human values? I assume they mean like the concept of human rights that we have in the Western world. And Tom pointed out that Christianity for the first time taught the equality of all people, that a poor person and a rich person had equal value to God, a slave and a free person had equal value to God. A.C. Grayling accused Christianity of copying those ideas. The sources of copying, he accused the Christianity of copying the Greek gods, because there are Greek gods who go to Hades and come back, and Jesus went to Hades and came back. There are Greek gods who are the children of a god, and he claimed Jesus Christ is just a copy of those things. And the idea of human rights and human value, that was copied from the Stoics, a group of philosophers or a philosophy around 2,000 years ago. The concept of the second coming, he claimed that the concept of the second coming was made up because, well, they thought the second coming was going to come soon, and when it didn't happen, then they had to make up some ideas. Like having spirits. He claimed that Paul wrote that a Christian's body will never rot. The Apostle Paul never claimed that a Christian's body does not rot after it dies. So there we see one thing that I am certain A.C. Grayling was making up or lying about. But the concept of us having a spirit is a true concept that was been true all the time, and so Christianity didn't make that up in 300 AD because they were building churches and digging up bodies they thought were going to be perfectly preserved. If they thought they were going to be perfectly preserved, it was because they were misunderstanding something that Paul said, or pushing their hopes onto what Paul wrote and misinterpreting it because of that. He accused Christianity of destroying things, not, Tom asked for proof that we know it was Christians that destroyed these things. What was being destroyed? Plays. We've got some certain named theatrical productions and plays that we only know about them because somebody mentions them in some writing, but we don't have the play itself. How's that proof it was destroyed by people? Apparently A.C. Grayling does not know that paper rots. Paper rots. So these plays could just have not been recopied because they weren't valuable. And that's not the same as finding them and burning them up. And you have to wonder if there's an ancient writing we don't have, especially a play. Really? I wouldn't accuse future Christians of being, evil destroyers if they decide not to copy Transformers and GoBots and preserve Transformers and GoBots plays, our modern equivalent, in 200 years from now. Okay. And so the Son of God concept, A.C. Grayling claimed every time something amazing happened in all the ancient stories and all the ancient Greek stories, it was a half-god, a son of a god. All heroes were sons of God, and so he accused Christianity of copying that. But Tom pointed out their heroes were not crucified. He also pointed out, like a poor slave. I'm not sure if we could call Jesus a slave, but Jesus was by monetary standards, a poor man when he was on the earth. He did not have earthly power. He had an even more important power, but so it was a big difference. That disproves the concept of copying. Um, the different gods and sons of gods that the Greeks and Romans had. Um, you can't accuse somebody of copying from them if their supposed copy gets powerless and gets crucified. Aquinas, he said something about Aquinas. Yeah, A.C. Grayling says something about Aquinas. Aquinas comes later after the beginning of Christianity. So you can't pin whatever Aquinas says on all of Christianity. Claimed Hitler did the same things that, as Aquinas, or as Christians. As Christians did. Accused Christians, the early Christians of being, very violent. Tom pointed out that we have old records because monks were copying them. The Iliad was not translated into Arabic until 1904. And how were they able to have it around to transfer it into Arabic, translate it into Arabic? Because of the monks copying it 1,000-something years before. A.C. Grayling made the claim that the records were kept in Baghdad, which is obviously a Muslim-controlled city for over 1,000 years now. And Tom pointed out it was the monks. Tom pointed out, made the accusation A.C. claimed it was after many centuries that monks finally got around to it. Tom said that was a quoting of Protestant propaganda claimed by Protestants to make the Catholic Church look bad. A.C. Grayling pointed out that in the 4th century in China and India, Socrates, Gautama, who later got renamed to Buddha, or we called Buddha, and Confucius, were making some kind of teachings about equality of man. Let's see, Socratic challenge. There's some kind of Socratic challenge he mentioned. The Federalist Papers call for freedom of expression. There was a debate about whether to write about a freedom of expression in the Constitution of the United States of America, according to A.C. Grayling, and this one sounds like an actual true claim. But some people were saying it wasn't needed because, by nature, we have this freedom. That still does not disprove the teaching that Christianity taught the value of humans, human rights, human equality. But the Bill of Rights is there. Everything in the Bill of Rights is a natural right. A jury may not be obviously a natural right, but the concept of, not believing bad things about people without proof is a kind of a natural right. You owe it to people. If you don't think that, then you're a mass murdering rapist, and it's true because I don't have to have any proof. You just gave me permission to not have proof to, get people to believe bad things about somebody else. If you said, if you disagreed with me saying the concept of requiring proof before you believe something bad about somebody. Alright, Tom pointed out that the Greeks could not have given us the concept of human rights and equality because they had slaves. That's a good point, you know. Equality of man, society with slavery. I don't see how they're compatible. Paul, the Apostle Paul in the Bible is the one who said, no Greek, no Jew, no bond, no free, all are one in Christ. Let's see. The subject of sex was brought up. Christians are accused of being square and boring. Okay. But slavery was ended in our modern times by people motivated by their Christianity, because Christianity does not leave room for slavery. He pointed out that in the ancient world, that slaves could be, raped, used sexually by their masters with no punishment, no recourse. Society looked at it as, well, that's his property. He gets to do what he wants with it. Many of the Greek gods were rapists. And so you can't say that modern Christianity and human rights come from a society where the gods, we usually think of the word God as being good people, but those ancient Greek gods, some of them were quite evil, including committing rape. He's made a claim that the current Me Too movement is imposing Christian morality on society. And the Me Too movement will only work if men accept that Christian morality, that you don't get to treat a woman like a piece of property and treat her like she has some equality. A.C. Grayling says, Paul says it's better not to marry, women should shut up, be quiet in church. Everything that's accused, charges made against paganism is true of Christianity. I'd say it. Tom showed that Christianity taught slavery was bad in the 1800s. Christians looking at this Christian scriptures, not Christians making things up that had nothing to do with the Christian scriptures. And he pointed out there was a conversation when a Christian in that time period in the 1800s was talking to a Muslim about slavery, or maybe it was the 1900s, and how they should stop it. And the Muslim made the claim that slavery has been had in all ages, so they should be allowed to do it, and they shouldn't have to stop it, which is a really weak argument. Things have been around for a lot of ages. Being around doesn't prove it was good. Let's see. A.C. Grayling made the point that the Greek slaves could eventually begin to have citizenship and power. Not so for the American slaves in the 1800s. What does that have to do with what the Bible teaches and what Christianity has given us? I think that's a weak argument, because the slaveholding Christians in America in the 1800s were doing it in contradiction to principles and concepts that we can find in the Bible, not because the Bible clearly says it's good for you to own another person and beat them mercilessly and rape them. Let's see. Yep, Tom pointed out that the anti-slavery advocates of the 1800s got their ideas from the Christian canon, or from the Catholic canon more specifically than Christian. I say more specifically because, of course, Catholics are Christians. They are my fellow Christians. Just a subdivision of that. Enlightenment used Christian tradition. And I found Tom Holland to definitely have won this debate, and he showed that Christianity is the source of our concepts of human equality and human rights. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.